Welcome to Courtney on Health, heard almost exclusively on malcolmpresents.com, your streaming portal to the wonderful world of Zoom casting. And today is Martin Luther King Day, so we're all, hopefully everybody who's listening to this is taking the day off and celebrating the marvelous but short life of Dr. Martin Luther King. Anyway, guys, what's on and these are my two cohorts. Do the introduction, Max.
Hello.
Hello. So hi, Courtney, and hi, Malcolm, and welcome to Courtney on Health, which is a Zoomcast podcast series which focuses on one's overall well-being with tips on nutrition and exercise given by Courtney Gravenese, registered dietitian with a Master of Science degree in nutrition and applied physiology. Courtney is an experienced nutritional and health consultant in the New York metro area, and we would say beyond. We're not sure. We never know where but beyond is these days. And she will help guide you on a path to wellness and health, because that's what we're kind of doing all the time with this show. So I'm going to quote a song lyric because it kind of fits in. I'm not going to sing it, but you'll know of a certain age who this is. I don't know if the kiddos if there's any kiddos listening, but anyway, it's here it is. It's let's get physical. I want to get physical. Let's get into physical. And then it goes, let me hear your body talk. Your body talk. Let me hear your body talk. So it's talking. That's the first lyric of a song in 1981. The late, great Olivia Newton-John took the video world by storm with her risque. It was very risque at the time. Video, Let's Get Physical, and brought exercise to a new level in many ways. So finding a form of exercise that you actually look forward to doing can add joy to your life. You don't have to feel like you have to exercise a certain way for it to count.
That's as a male chauvinist, it could add joy to my life.
It did. That's good. Well, you were a little late on the uptake on this because I'm into the middle of the paragraph now. But with that said, a big fitness trend for 2023 is all about moving in a way that will make both your body and brain feel good. So whether you live for a cardio, dance, or yoga class, or perhaps you feel like hitting a punching bag nonstop, sometimes a day might do that, and you get exercise and aggression all at the same time. Finding a way to exercise that you love goes a long way in helping you feel your best. So Courtney will give some great info on fitness trends for this year, which is, if you don't know, and if you're still sleeping, 2023, and the best way to manage your exercise routines that will get you moving and grooving. So let's get physical, in the words of Olivia. And so Courtney, how do we start this off? What's the best way? Exercises, program? Go ahead.
Hello to both of you. And so if you all remember, a few weeks back, right before the end of the year, we focused on 2023 sort of food and nutrition trends that we might be seeing over the next year. So I thought, to even things out, we'd focus on the American College of Sports Medicine's. There are more than 10, but we're going to focus on the top 10 fitness trends that we will see or may see over the next year. So it's, although I'm going to sort of weigh in on which of these might be most helpful and impactful for folks listening, on how to motivate them to either start or maintain their fitness program, it's really more about helping global health and fitness industry leaders make some critical business and programming decisions, which of course we see. So whether you belong to a community center or a fitness center, or even school programs, corporate wellness centers. So it's far-reaching in terms of its impact because of these industry leaders, what they're seeing, and what we, of course, may see. Some of these have been on the list for many years, and I'll talk about that. At the top of the list, and I don't know if either one of you, I don't really use anything yet, but at the top of the list and it has not been number one, but it's certainly been in the top, top few spots, would be wearable technology. Do you guys know what that is?
Wearable
Actually,
technology.
actually, I do, because my son, who is a senior software developer,
Yeah.
works with a company that works with wearable technology,
Yeah.
and it measures sleep and physical activity, and I'll clue you in. It's in ring form, not this is another
Yeah,
form.
yeah. So
This is my watch
yeah,
form.
I know. It
Right.
keeps getting smaller and smaller. The hot one
Right.
now is ring form. Before you know it, I feel like it's going to be an earring stud that will check our blood pressure and help. But
Or
the
nose,
reality is,
or nose,
or a
who
nose.
knows?
I know, whatever
I don't
floats
know,
your
whatever
boat.
you want to call it. Yeah,
It's
but
it's a big category of tech toys, tech devices, including things like you just mentioned. So it is everything from fitness trackers, including things like Fitbits. It's smartwatches. I'll talk to you a little bit about the differences among these different things. One that's really gaining a lot of traction, I saw some data over the last year, and I really listened to what the professionals say about its usefulness for those of us who are non-diabetics, but it's called a continuous glucose monitor, or a CGM for short. So, up until I would say a few years ago, unless you were somebody with diabetes, you wouldn't typically be measuring your blood glucose throughout the day. Obviously, individuals with diabetes need to do so for a variety of different reasons. But what is really out there right now is a greater use of these devices to monitor blood glucose. Why, you might ask? Because some people really want to know how they are responding, A, to the foods that they're eating. Are they having tremendous spikes? Are they running low? And then B, how their exercise impacts their glucose levels. Now, I won't even go into whether this is truly considered beneficial for non-diabetics at this point, but suffice to say, there are a lot of folks, and in fact, I just saw within the last few weeks, coincidentally, in my fitness center, some individuals wearing it. Typically, you might see it on the back of the arm. If you're really trying to be more discreet, you can have it on your abdominal area, but I'm seeing individuals using this. So it's already starting to reach the average individual interest level.
The rings, though, are becoming very popular, and I'll say the company name, Aura, is one of them. It's actually the leading one. They're also working because it can tell your temperature, and that keys into reproductive
Sure.
for women, and that is a huge application for that, because women who want to see when their fertility is the highest. So that, I mean, you're right. Things are like branching out all over between,
absolutely. It's so far,
different things.
so
Yeah.
far reaching. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely. So there's a role there. There are individuals, let's take blood glucose out of the mix. There are, it's really more fitness trackers. Smartwatches are great because they will show you things like how many steps you've taken, which a lot of people find motivating. Where a fitness tracker takes it up another level is that it's really more encouraging than that. It will set a reminder to say you're due for your, afternoon stretch, or have you gone for your walk yet today? So they're really building into sort of the behavioral side of these, these tech devices to help not just, give you a record of what you've done, but try to get you to do more or stay on track. So they'll do, just like you meant, they can do temperature. There are some that will actually,
sleep.
That's
a big one.
Some would argue, it'll do hours of sleep, but it's really hard to calculate. Okay, you can have it'll figure out number of hours, but is it really very good at calculating how well you've slept, like the quality of sleep? So again, they're just, they're out there. Lots of individuals are using these for heart rate, very, very important, monitoring their blood pressure throughout the day. There are some, and I actually have a personal friend of mine who's actually been using this quite some time for periodic EKGs that are it's directly sent to his healthcare provider. So you can see there's lots of different areas, related to fitness specifically, but also related to other allied areas of health that many people may find this beneficial.
Excuse me, that's confusing. How does it tell that you're asleep or sleeping? It's what does it measure?
There's sensors. If you look inside the ring, there's different points, like almost looks like little diamonds or something. There's within the ring itself, and it does measure your good sleep and bad sleep, and it'll tell you when you're in deeper sleep and when you're not deeper sleep, because it comes with an app for your phone, and it measures stuff. I mean, my watch can measure my EKG, but then there's this thing that you touch on either side that measures your EKG that could, I think, send that to your doctors. This watch doesn't do it yet, but no, they can tell the patterns, they can tell the rhythm. It's scientific, it's algorithms. I don't know. I'm not a
Malcolm. So we can certainly do a deeper dive on this another week. But they will look, for example, at things like heart rate, which is very easy to pick up on one of these devices. It might pick up O2 saturation, which you can correlate between those and sleep patterns. So Maxine's right, there is an algorithm, but they are looking at specific measures. Now, of course, the question is, how well does it do that? But
would it do brain waves?
I don't know how
I don't know about
that.
that.
But that's certainly something we could find out.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like it's like the body at rest. It's I know it's the brainwaves and how they
the scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz could have used that.
He has no brain.
If he only had a brain.
So the reality is the wearable devices, wearable technology doesn't sound like it's going away anytime soon. In fact, it keeps getting stronger. When we get to the end, I'll talk about sort of my sort of the practical side of things. These things are not inexpensive. So in terms of, is it useful for most of us folks or is it not useful? I guess the reality is, just how motivated are you without it? Would be the first question. And then the second question is, how much are they? These, and they all have different rates. I will tell you that the continuous glucose monitors, good ones, are not cheap. And insurance will not cover them. You could usually go to a third-party provider to get one, but again, there'll be a price tag attached to it. So again, I'm all for anything that is going to keep folks motivated, so long as it's not, breaking the bank, and so long as they're not getting poor data, junk in, junk out. So you got to make sure that you know which device you're buying and it's got some quality support behind it.
What about virtual reality workouts? That seems to be it seems to be something kids are doing a lot of it, adults are doing a lot of it. What's your take on that as a trend?
Surprisingly, that is not, it's buried in the list. It's not in the top 10. And I will tell you that at-home exercise is actually no surprise. This doesn't really surprise me at all. Is people are still doing it, but it is less popular. Fitness centers are back. People want to be back out there and getting involved with community, with friends, with groups. So there's definitely this trend towards less at-home exercise, more in-center exercise. But people are always looking for something fun and interesting. And just like, virtual reality, I don't know if you guys have ever priced them. They're expensive. So so really expensive. So I think for something that could end up being, like when people buy treadmills, remember years ago, it ended up being just a really expensive coat rack. It would be a shame to invest in something like a VR fitness program and then have it sit down collecting dust in a basket in your, in your playroom. So, and again, I'm just basing this purely on the ACSM's recent poll, and it's not in the top 10. But 2 would be strength training, specifically with free weights. And this has been on the list before. So we're talking about dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells. So I think what people are looking for, what they're seeing in this trend, is that people want a little bit more than just machines. They want a little bit more variability. Some people have these at home, certainly, that they can use, but fitness centers, community centers, gyms, schools have usually a variety of different weights. So in terms of how heavy they are, so it gives people a wider option and many choices in terms of, as they get stronger, they can continue to go up.
Yeah. What about mobility train? I mean, I've been reading about, like, it's important to, and they might even start doing this in physical exams with your doctor, is timing you for 10 plus seconds, balancing on one leg, like
Right.
things like that. It seems to be, I mean, I've been seeing more of that. Do you see that at all? Or is this just me reading?
Oh, absolutely. So let's we'll jump around because we'll
Okay.
tie into what you're talking about. So at number 5 is functional fitness. And that speaks to exactly what you just mentioned, Maxine, and that is those activities that can help improve balance, our coordination, anything that is going to contribute to an increased improvement in our activities of daily living is really becoming very, very popular. And this is, by the way, among all demographics. So it's not just in individuals who are in the, plus 50 crowd or the plus 60 crowd. We're seeing this among younger demographics as well, as they try to achieve not just cardiovascular and resistance strength, but they want that whole balance. They want that flexibility.
Right.
That's absolutely in there. Body weight training. So this is really, I think, very helpful. And you guys have heard me speak about this before in terms of cost, which is zero because you've got your own body weight. In terms of where you can do it, you don't need a whole lot of space. So there's a plus there. And then generally in terms of, how much equipment you need, the answer is zero because you're using your own body weight. So it really is not only one of the trending fitness types of programs we're seeing, but it happens to be one that I think is really applicable towards pretty much everybody. So that's a great one to try and keep in your short list, I would say.
I read something on this because I was looking it up,
Mhm.
primal movement, crawling, lunging, functional training. I mean, is that something? Is that a thing, or is this just an article that, whatever? I mean, is that something that you would have people do? It's called primal movement.
You know what? I've seen, and I don't necessarily see this, but again, I'm only in my fitness center at a certain time, and there's what I'm seeing in personally, what I'm reading about in terms of research, and then what I know is also out there. So they do have things like mixed martial arts classes, survivalist training programs, which really tap into what you're talking about, Maxine, which is a lot of mobility, a lot of flexibility. I would say that that's probably not the best one for most folks to start with because it may sound like it's easy. Oh, it's like, crawling along the floor, but it might have you crawling along the floor and then jumping up and then doing, jumping jacks and then lunges, which for most people is going to be too large of a hill to climb, at least initially.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
I don't think my knee would like that, but because you also have to, within these trends, you have to know what you can and cannot do, right? So there's still core and glutes and that stuff. Is that, I mean,
all that is absolutely in there. We're seeing a greater uptick in fitness programs for older adults. Now, this is not new for this year. This has been a growing trend. Part of that is due to the extremely large baby boomer population.
Yep.
So there's some disposable income. There's a little extra free time in case maybe they've retired. And there's also just the underlying message that they have gotten that we got to take care of ourselves. I don't want to get older. I want to get older and be well. And they've gotten that message. And because of that, like I said, community centers, programs like that, have not just one category of fitness programs for older adults, it's varying degrees. So it could be something as entry level or beginner as chair yoga, And it can go all the way up to, you know, hit like high intensity interval training programs, because there's a 70-year-old, right? And then that's super active and still skis and does all these things. And then there's the 70-year-old who might need a little bit, you know, a lighter touch. So they hear that message and they're developing programs to meet that need.
I
Yeah,
have an 88-year-old aunt and she still skis.
That's amazing. I'm so
Okay.
impressed by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's because her parents lived to over their hundreds and she's still skiing up at Belleair Mountain. It's unbelievable.
It is.
That's a good gene pool, Maxine. That's a good.
It's a different side, unfortunately. Although my mom, God bless her, was 101, but I think I have some of my dad's crappy heart genes. So I don't know.
What I like for exercise, I did this years ago, was taekwondo.
Yeah.
Right, and Tai Chi also.
Mhm.
Or Tai Chi Wan, but what is this? I'm forgetting the slow one. That's
I think Tai Chi.
Tai
No?
Chi. Yeah, Tai Chi was very good because it's you don't hold positions like you do in yoga, but it's a
It's
constant,
constant move,
constant
right?
slow, very slow.
fluid. Yeah.
But
And supposedly it exercises every muscle in the body, the different forms.
Well, from what I've seen of it, it really taps into that notion of functional fitness, because you really, in terms of balance and control, and that is harder. It always looks easy, but if you've ever, you know, done it, or you
No, it's
really understand what's happening, it's hard, you know.
It ain't easy at all, because you're like standing on one leg,
That's
balancing and moving the other leg around, and you
Yeah.
really have to control each muscle.
Right.
And there's a
typically I
series-
see that, and this is nice because it bleeds into number 6 on the list. I typically see those classes performed outside. So I'll see them in my local park. I'll see them at the outside area of a community center, which is wonderful because, and this makes me happy because you guys know I'm always preaching about or encouraging. Hopefully I don't preach or screech about getting outside, but exercise activity in general outdoors is really staying popular. And as we look ahead throughout the year, it appears to, in terms of the programming that's available, be even more popular. So that could be either professionally led, so by a fitness trainer at a local, you know, gym or a fitness center, or it's on an individual basis. So it can be group walks, it could be bike rides, it can be hikes. So people really want to get back outside again, and you know they're hearing that between, you know, fresh air, sunlight, you know, being exposed to varying temperatures, whether it be on the colder side or on the warmer side, is really good on a variety of different, not only mental but physical levels.
Right.
So that makes me happy because you guys know I love to be outside. So that's all good in my.
Back in the day, I would actually, my friends, because I dared them, bought me a unicycle for one of my birthdays and a pogo stick. And actually, pogo sticking is very good exercise.
It's very fun.
It's a lot
Very
of fun,
fun.
but it's good for your calves in the back. It's yeah. So go out and get pogo sticks.
I know what I'm going to get you for a gift.
Oh, thank you. A burger. I think I might even have it in my garage. How scary is that? And I used to be able to ride the unicycle around my block. If you ask me now, I'd probably kill myself. So.
Well, to keep
Oh my
it simple,
gosh.
have you guys tried jumping rope lately?
Not lately, no.
I
Jumping
wouldn't
rope
say
can be
lately,
so
no.
hard.
It's
Sure.
hard.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
You got to get off the ground.
Yeah, no, it's really, and you got to be really careful. So again, that's another one of the ones, Malcolm, that if somebody asked me, you know, is that a great one for me to start? I would say probably not.
Not a
You
good idea.
run the risk, and there's lots of other entry level fitness programs that you could start with that don't run the same risk, and even in terms of like cardiovascular. So that would fall under, it's one of, and there are many typical exercises, and I mentioned it earlier, they're called HIIT. It remains popular. Those are the high intensity interval training programs. And that, if you remember our 7-minute workout, you remember we did an example of that. That's an example of a HIIT program, but it's any combination of a very shorter bouts of very, very high intensity exercises balanced with very short breaks, and then you go right back into it again. So it's a nice option for folks who already have some level of conditioning to really sort of turn the volume up on their workouts to see a greater results.
Yeah.
But what if you want to do a gradual, like, starting off now, you want to, get back on track aside from walking, but actual fitness program? I mean, where would you start?
I think for most people, if again, let's assume somebody does not have access to or can't afford either a community center, fitness center, or any of the like. You can do great at home, and I know it's not. Again, this is where I'm layering in my input and my weigh in on here. Even though at home exercise is not trending, that doesn't mean you specifically can't make it trendy for you. So for individuals, I think at home, between body weight, we mentioned exercise bands. I love exercise bands. They're inexpensive. They don't take up a whole lot of space. There are really great programs that you can find online. Or even if if you don't have, comfortable doing it online, if you've got any kind of television coming into your house and cable, they've got great like sports school fitness programs, a variety of different, like YouTube TV has a variety of different classes. You can do it in your own home. So if you're feeling self-conscious, it is a great way to start and then build from there. And of course, always couple that with, if you're able to, and you're, ambulatory, you can, walk outside. Always couple that with something outside, a few minutes outside, walking. That would be my first recommendation for somebody brand new or trying to get back into it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, walking is one of my major things. I'm my dog and I have a good time.
No,
So.
and it's motivating for you, and I think that's great. And I think for a lot of different folks, and then let's take this on the other side, Maxine. I'll answer your question about, so for folks who do have a fitness center where they belong, a lot of them now are moving away from making you join on necessarily an annual basis. So I think that's helpful for some folks because they can join a center and do it by class. So this is particularly related to like functional fitness training. There's a couple that I think of. F45 is a popular one. They offer these programs where you pay for a fixed number of classes. So you buy 15 classes and then you've got, let's say 3 months to be able to complete those. Sometimes that can be a little bit more cost effective. So that's certainly an option. One good additional good bit of information that I read in this trending report from ACSM is that they're seeing a greater use of a lot of these companies, these fitness centers, community centers, employing certified health fitness professionals. Now, of course, one might ask, well, then what were they hiring beforehand? And this is not an indictment of what personal trainers were like in fitness centers over a decade ago. I don't want to go there, but what I will say is more often now you will find that they have a greater level of education and certification from accredited facilities and places and universities, and not just somebody who has decided that they like exercise a whole lot and they are going to start to work in a fitness center. So that's important, I think, for folks to know that they're going to get another level of certification and education in these trainers.
But most of the well-known, the larger physical centers, clubs, they generally have their physical workers there to have certificates. And you see they generally wind up on the door or near the office, they say, where they were certified. And just talking about financially, if you're a senior, they have, I think it's Senior Advantage, where you could join a health club, a major health club, for nothing. I mean, basically, you just apply to it, and they'll give you a year membership, and continuing on, for the rest of your life. And
You have to see if they participate, though.
Yeah, well, you have
Not
to.
all of them do, right?
No, but the
Where
major.
would one find out, Malcolm? Like, where would they? Is this on like the Medicare webpage? Is it on
Medicare?
It's on Medicare, and you would have to then go to your your health club, local health club, and find out if they participate and
No,
how much they pay out.
but,
But there's different tracks to do it though. Yeah.
but they have the national ones, 24-hour fitness is a member of that, because I'm a member of there. LA,
Great.
which is huge, they're a member of, and I'm sure a lot of the other major ones. Because you have to remember, the senior citizens also have children and grandchildren, so they're exposing to a way that's a way for them to market. But
Right.
No,
but again,
no, I agree with you. I think that's a great tip. I think that's a great point. Another place where seniors can probably go, as many communities have, senior centers that run either at very low cost or in some cases free of charge, all types of exercise programs. So that would be another place to look.
Right.
The continuing education, adult continuing education programs that might be in your community, they're a great place to look, because many times those programs are built around their anchor population, which is senior citizens, and the cost per person is very, very reasonable. It can be as inexpensive as like $20 for a couple of classes. So that's an option for seniors. On the younger side, I would still encourage parents to look to their schools to see what type of facilities there are there that their kids might be able to use, and to use their schools, PE teacher as one more place to go for good information, and to work with your child. That's a good place to start if you're trying to get them to participate in more programs. And of course, getting out there with them. You got to model it. You got to model
Right.
it so they see what you're doing.
Yeah,
Right, absolutely.
Also, in many of the major cities, like I live in Los Angeles, there are different leagues for the kids. I mean, my boys played at the AYSO, the American Youth Soccer
Yeah,
League,
yeah.
and it is fun. It's fun, just for them to meet the kids around the neighborhood or a far off neighborhood, and the parents to come in to participate. Because in order to join these leagues or the Little League, the parent has to participate in it. So it involves the kids and the parents, and it's fun. The thing that we miss out when we talk about exercise, I think we spoke about that. When I was a kid, I never exercised. I went out in the morning, I played punch ball, played stick ball, played basketball, played football, never exercised. I went to the ocean, went swimming.
Well, then you did exercise. Everything you just mentioned.
I never, it wasn't exercise, it was fun. We played.
Okay. But it was moving your body. It was.
No, I'm being,
Yeah.
when did play become exercise? I think
Wow.
mentally you have to, when I still work out, I'm playing because I'm enjoying it.
I think we could look back to, is Jack LaLanne, right? Do you remember when he first came on this? Like, I have to pull up some of these old videos of, is he still alive? I don't even know. I'm digressing here, but
I don't think so.
No,
but
he's not
anyway,
alive anymore. Yeah.
But your point, Malcolm, is really a valid one, and that's why I was so happy to see that number 6 on this list is coming back to outdoor activities. Now, whether you're an adult or a kid, I'm totally with you. Like being outside, riding your bike, playing ball with your kid, throwing a football outside, whatever it is, swimming, like you said, just, at the beach or a lake. Yeah, that's activity. It's all activity, but it doesn't have to have a specific label, nor does it have to be in a structured, program or facility in order for you to, redeem the benefits.
Right. When I was thinking of, you guys into the winter where it snows, how much more exercise can you get than having a snowball fight? And running away from the snowball and running down and throwing
Absolutely.
and running away from people who are trying to hit you.
Yeah, well, at this point, we've been in kind of a snow drought for a bit here, but I'm thinking February could suck us in, but I don't know. Unless we go up to Buffalo, where hell they go.
I've had enough exercise for the day because our time is up.
Oh, our time is up.
Our time is up. So.
Any parting words there, Courtney?
No, just, we've discussed this. Just get out there. I think this is interesting information. I love to see this kind because I'm curious to see what's getting really frothy out there. but do what works for you. Do not let what somebody else or what you're hearing on social media, drive your, decision making. Do what makes you happy. Just keep outside, keep it moving, keep it fun, keep it short and sweet, and build up from there rather than trying to start high and, get frustrated.
Right, but start today. Don't wait till tomorrow.
Yep. Don't put it off.
Do it now.
Get physical. Put on the record. Get physical.
Anyway, take us out, Max.
All right. So thanks for joining us for
Many
Courtney on
shades.
Health for many
shades.
reasons.
Different show, Max.
Different show. Thanks for joining us for Courtney on Health. For God's sake, I was on vacation. You can give me a break. To get more info, follow Courtney on her Facebook page, Courtney on Health, on Instagram at CLG Wellness, on TikTok, and visit her website, CourtneyGravenese.com. For more shows, go to MalcolmPresents.com or the ManyShadesOfGreen.com. Courtney on Health, Smart Sound Nutrition, Strong Safe Fitness. We'll catch you again next time.
Bye.
Next time, have a great week.
And a reminder, all shows from Courtney on Health are archived on MalcolmPresents.com. So if you missed something last year, you can go on to it and see it again.
And YouTube and on a podcast.
And on podcast.
So, right. So you can go to
Ta-ta.
your
See you
favorite
next week.